Hi, Faith. Hi, Desire. Hi, Dana. Hi, how are you, Desiree? Or Desire, sorry. Hi, Vanessa. Hi, Fabi. So, you guys, this is a Q&A. So, if you have any questions, you go to the Q&A box and ask. Oh, my God. Thank you, Melody. And then I'll answer them, as I get them. Thank you, Lexi. Hi, Austin. Hi, Carly. Hi, Dubs. Desiree. All right, I got it right. Thank you, Melody. I gotta get comfortable. I'm so uncomfortable. Ugh. Okay. Hi, Austin. I'm good. How are you? Denmark. Oh, I forgot to put the I'll be right back. Denmark. Oh, I forgot to put the I'll be right back. I'm just for go. I just do it so if I miss questions, I can, get to them after in a video. Hi, Lexi. Hi, Sierra. Hi, Crystal. Thank you, Vinny. Thank you, Kendra. Hi, Sonia. Everything is good here. How are you? Roman is good. He's with Eli right now while I do this. That's awesome, Desiree. Maybe I can move this so I don't have to go forward. All right, that's a lot better. What are you going to see, Sonia? Oh, I got a question. Let's look. All right, so this is a question I actually get a lot. Do Eli and I plan on adopting more kids in the future? My husband would love to adopt or foster. I have reservations only because my hands are so full, or our hands are so full with Roman, but you never know what the future holds. You never know. In the future, maybe the capability to do that will, it'll be more accessible, maybe. I don't know. I do have concerns because I know that, fostering and adopting, the processes can be very close-minded. Like, I know you have to, in some instances, you have to be like a certain BMI. You have to like not have any mental health history. There are a lot of restrictions on it, and so that would concern me. But you never know what the future holds. It's not that I'd ever be against it. It's just right now definitely wouldn't be the time because we have so much going on with Roman. We literally have sometimes 10 appointments a week. It's wild. So yeah, it would be really hard to take on another person. But like I said, it does. One thing though that bothers me is that where I live now, like, this is my family home, and we've built a farm, and I want my son to inherit that, if he wants to one day. And it bothers me that there is a chance he may not be able to if he didn't have somebody trustworthy to help him, care for the land and stuff like that. I don't know what his abilities will be at that point. But I wouldn't want to adopt or anything just for that reason, because I feel like it gives like my brother's keepers vibes. Well, my sister's keepers, but he's a dude, so you know what I mean. So I wouldn't do it. Like, I don't think children should have jobs. Like, you know what I mean. So I don't know. So you never know. Maybe in the future if it's more accessible and we have more free time. All right, you guys, I'm finding another one. All right, any goals I've set for myself currently? I love this question. So goals I've set for myself currently are to, participate in more self-care, because my husband and I are kind of in this rhythm where we're caring for a lot of other people and we don't have a lot of time for ourselves. We do make time as a couple to spend time together and to do things we love together, but we both need to work on finding things to do independently. We do everything together. We don't like being apart, so that's very hard. But like, he's getting into like drawing again and video games, stuff like that. So my goal is to just make more time for that. And thank you so much, Wendy. Thank you for the gifts, you guys. Thank you so much. So yeah, I would just like to make more time for self-care. Okay, so how do I handle hygiene with autism? In my son, I should say. So it can be hard when it comes to like showers and stuff, because he doesn't like the water in his face and whatnot. But I do find that there are ways around it. And I also find that with my son, and I know everybody's different, but with my son particularly, like if I give him more independence, he tends to be more receptive. So if I try to allow him to do as much as possible on his own, then he's more likely to, or the process is more likely to go smoother because he feels like he's in control. And I totally get that because it's hard when you need help with certain things because your autonomy, I think that's what it's called, right? Is in the hands of somebody else, and to lose that is very hard. And so I understand why him having more independence and control over those situations, makes it easier to process and to deal with. So that is what I really tend to do, like even if I know he'll struggle and I might have to redo it, I still give him that option to do things independently so he can feel like, he's also in control of the situation. Like, this is his life. That's his, it's himself. He has his own boundaries. He's allowed to, and he should be in control as much as he can. And that really works for us. Just allowing him to be as independent with like, bathing, brushing teeth, doing his hair. Like I said, even if I have to step in and redo it or help, him having that like amount of control really, I think, helps him feel like more at ease because he can have more say in what's happening. I'm looking for another one. Doo doo. Hey, why isn't my phone charging? Technical difficulties. I got water in my phone outside, so let me just see if this will. All right. Okay. Please don't fall on me. Okay. I'm looking for another question. Let me see. Okay, so what made me want to transition from female to male? I actually get this question a lot. And the thing is, I never wanted to. It's not like it was never a choice. When I finally made the decision to transition, I would say deciding to, participate in medical transition is a choice. Not that, the other option in a lot of cases is I have to censor myself. But you know what? I'm going to take that back. I don't think that medically transitioning is always a choice. I'm going to take that back. Do I want to take that back? It's still a choice, though, even if it's important and it's like, because my option, like, I really felt like my option was if I don't do this, I'm gonna die. Like, I know I have to be careful what I say on here, but that was like how I felt. Like, it got to the point where like I would be up all night researching top surgery because I convinced myself I'm just a lesbian who wants top surgery. That's what I convinced myself. And so I would be up all night researching like top surgery, and then in the morning I'd want to vomit because I would be so sick with like guilt and feel disgusting and sinful and horrible. And it was at that point I'm like, I might as well transition because my quality of life was shit. People on the outside were obviously noticing, like, things were not right with me. I was really struggling. So that's why I, took the leap to transition. But I didn't, to be honest, I don't know. I would argue that I didn't want it because I don't think transitioning is easy, and I don't think being trans is easy, and it's not something that I know that nowadays a lot of stuff is like everybody's very prideful about it, but to me, I don't think it's always a wonderful thing. I think it's been very painful, and I would never want to have to go through that, but this is what I had to do, I feel, to survive and live a life that was fulfilling, and I really struggled with the fact that because I was raised Catholic, and I remember hearing, do not, don't risk eternal happiness for an earthly decision. And that really stuck with me, and I fought real hard. Thank you, Zen, with that ideology. And I really came to the conclusion that regardless, like, you know, I need to live a fulfilling life to be the parent I need to be for my son. I had to transition there. I had to. So if that meant like eternal damnation, which I don't believe, but if it meant that, at least I was able to be a good parent to my son, and he's worth that, in my opinion. So yeah, that's my answer to that. Let me look for another one. Doo-doo. All right, so this question is, wait, hold on. Thank you, Zen, and thank you, Brett. Thank you, guys. So this question is, do I ever plan on moving? No. I love New England. I love where I live. I hope to live in my family home forever. I love the farm. I would be devastated if I had to leave here. I'd be devastated without my farm. You know, having birds, in particular, really, are very therapeutic to me, and, it's just a huge part of my life. I don't know, I can't honestly imagine life without like my poultry now, because when I'm having a bad day, just being able to like go out there and have them flock to me, it's that's like a huge part of my self-care. And yeah, like I said, I would just be devastated if I lost that, so I do not think I'll ever move. Thank you, Patience. By the way, I got your message, and sometimes the hub near me, it tries to deliver on Sundays, but I'll get it tomorrow, so no worries. It's just I don't know why they do that. No problem, Fly. Oh, it's Nay, I remember. Doo-doo. I'm looking for another one, you guys. Jones, I'm from Southern New Hampshire. Okay, so this is a question that was asked before. Would I ever use a surrogate to have a baby? I don't know. I never personally would ever want to carry a child. So my husband and I would never biologically have children. But a lot of people mentioned when I said that last time, well, what about a surrogate? I don't know. I've heard so many horror stories. I don't know if I'd be comfortable with that. I have a lot of control issues. Like, that's something I work on. I am very, like, I have a type A personality. Like, I'm pushing out 20 videos a day, taking care of 10 appointments, doing homeschool. You know what I mean? Like, I am a very type A personality. And I have a hard time not being in control. And I don't know how I would deal with a surrogate, knowing that somebody else is like brewing my kid. You know what I mean? I don't know how I would deal with that. And to be honest, since I have that mindset, I don't think it's a safe thing to look into right now. Because not only just because of my mindset, but I don't want like to put someone else through, carrying a child and having to go through me nitpicking everything, because I would not like that. So I'm going to say for a surrogate, probably not right now. Thank you for asking. He did. I wrote a note. He did like the soda. Yes, he drank all of it. I was so relieved. Because he only drinks Snapple Apple now. Well, it can be watered down. But, like, he needs, like, he drinks so little. I was so sad when he wouldn't drink the ginger ale before. Doo-doo. Okay, so I love this question, and nobody listens to me when I talk about it, because I get asked a lot, how do you stay so positive? And listen, okay, I feel that I'm an expert on this. I'm not, but I sort of am, kind of. Please listen to me, okay? So I get negativity, like, all the time, being on this app, obviously. Like, even if you took away, like, elements of my life, even if I wasn't married to a man, I'm still trans. Even if I wasn't trans and I'm in a gay marriage, even if I, even if I was a cis woman, like, in a heterosexual marriage, I have a son with autism and I speak about that a lot. So no matter what, I'd always be a target for hate in some areas. Our brains are actually conditioned to look at the negative over the positive. There's been studies done, and I don't remember the exact amount. I believe it's 5 times that our brains are 5 times more likely to zone in on negative things. And we hold those things with us more so than we do positive things. So you literally need to rewire your brain to look at the positive and notice the positive. There are mornings when I wake up and I'm pissed off at the world. It has nothing to do with TikTok. It has nothing to do with anybody. I'm just pissed off. And if I go through my TikTok comments, I could have hundreds of thousands of wonderful, uplifting comments. But if I see that one bad one, I'll be looking for negative ones. You know what I mean? And I really have to pull myself out of that and say, like, hey, wait a minute, like, This is you. Why don't you focus on the positive? Because as much as it's not okay for other people to like spit negativity towards anybody or be a hateful person, it's up to us. Like, we need to take control and not be victims and really realize, like, what we can do to change the situation. So if I find myself focusing on negative, 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 it's my job to pull myself back and recognize the positive, and that's how I stay positive. So I hope it helps. I hope people listen. Thank you so much, Zen. Thank you so much. Thank you, Haley. All right, you guys, I'm looking for more. All right, so I'm surprised I actually don't get this question more. I haven't talked about it a whole lot because of people can be very judgmental. But the question is, can my son be aggressive? Yeah, he honestly has improved dramatically since not being in ABA. When my son was in ABA, he could be like harmful to himself, to others. It was kind of a big problem, especially with actually electronics. Like, we went through electronics like crazy because he would smash them. Like, he could be very aggressive. So I ended up getting my son into therapy, and that has literally helped so much more than like ABA or anything. First he actually had a therapist who, she was deaf, and that actually, I think, really helped him because at the time he could barely talk. And she like was really big on like, relating to him and like, being able to kind of, see things from a perspective that like Eli and I couldn't, because, she had a disability as well. And she was just wonderful with him, and literally the aggressive behaviors immediately started going down. She ended up leaving the practice, so we have another therapist now, but still his aggressive behavior is down quite a bit. Typically when these behaviors happen, in my experience, it's because he can't like communicate what's wrong. Like, if something pisses us off, we're gonna be like, what the fuck, or what the hell, and why did this break, and why doesn't this work? But when you can't communicate that and you're so pissed off, like, I get why there's like outbursts and lashing out. Yeah, we have dealt with that a lot before, and I'm sure we'll deal with it in the future and have to like find interventions to ensure that like he's safe, everybody else is safe. I actually get asked a lot, like, when it comes to like, because I'll say my son's gonna live with me forever if he has to, like, I don't care. And people will be like, why, what if he gets aggressive? And it's like, guess I'll fucking die, because like, I don't give a shit. Like, he is never leaving my home. But no, I understand that it is a big issue and we deal with it as well. Not as frequently as we used to. But in my opinion, I feel like there is usually a root cause to it. In my experience, I shouldn't say opinion, my experience, like, there's usually a root cause as to why the aggression is happening. I think sometimes people view, well, autistic people in general, but autistic kids especially, as sort of like unhinged and like just erratic and unpredictable, and that's not true. When somebody is acting aggressive, it doesn't matter, like, what, how they function in certain areas, or if they're behind in certain areas. Like, there's a root cause for that aggression, I feel, in my experience. So I feel like, finding that root cause and really dealing with it directly is important, but that's just my experience. All right, let's see. Okay, so this question is, does Roman help with the housework? Actually, he does. Not so much like general chores, but he's very good at picking up after himself. He puts his laundry away. He picks up like his shoes. He knows where to put his shoes. He will help clean his room. What else? Let me think. He actually used to help me clean the litter box. Why he wanted that chore with me, I do not know, but he did it well with me. Yeah, he's not like super big into housework, but he does take care of his stuff. And if you say like, to put his dishes in the sink, he'll do that. A lot of stuff he does unprompted now. Like, like the shoes, his laundry, what else? If he spills something, he knows to clean it up. He'll do that without prompting. And prompting just means like asking him to do it. So the things he needs prompting with still are like maybe putting his dishes in the sink. Let me think of what else. That's pretty much it. I'm sure in the future, he'll get more chores and stuff as he gets older, but I'm just thrilled like he picks up after himself and stuff. Thank you, Kelly. It's good to see you. Doo-doo. Sorry, I'm looking for another Okay, my favorite thing to do when I'm bored. I love questions like this. So, I feel like the stuff I do when I'm bored is like people would not expect me to have these hobbies. Okay, so first of all, I'm getting into scrapbooking. I got a bunch of cool stuff from my friend Terry to start scrapbooking. And also, I love beading. Like, I love, every time I say that, like, I'm sure people think I mean beating ass, but no, I'm talking about like beading, like doing beads and stuff. I love arts and crafts. What else? I love restoring shoes. I love taking bubble baths, man. Love bubble baths. That's like part of why I'm UncleFestah. Thank you, Zen. What else? I tattoo myself a lot. Not recommended. Do not tattoo yourself. But I do a lot. Um, yeah. So I'm kind of all across the board with hobbies. I play a lot of like games like Yahtzee, Boggle, stuff like that. And I absolutely love true crime, creepy shit like I love the one I'm into now is the Morbidology podcast. Except I can't listen to podcasts because I have a very short attention span. So I actually have to read it. So I just read articles like excerpts from the podcast, and so yeah, that's what I do when I'm bored. do 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 do. Hey, so this is actually a question I've been getting a lot lately. I did do a video on it, but I should do one again, I guess. So I changed my name because my name has been UncleFestah for a long time, and I actually cherish that name. I'm still known as UncleFestah. That will never, ever change because I feel like I am a walking UncleFestah. You know what I mean? I'm so sad that I had to change my name. Well, I didn't have to, but I felt like it was a good idea. And that is because we were going to be making merch. We still are. It's going to take a little bit because I have to like order it myself and check it out, make sure it's high quality. And I don't think it's a good idea with me gaining a bigger following to keep a name that's based off of a character that's already established and copywritten and everything. I feel like it could turn into a legal issue. You never know, especially since my content isn't always agreeable with everybody. And so that's why I changed it. But it's very sad for me because I've been known as that for so long. And I loved being UncleFestah. I still am. But as far as being on TikTok, I felt like it was the right thing to do to change my name. And I changed it to EastCoastMick because I had actually changed it before to this, so I already kind of was known as EastCoastMick, and that's just because, you know, I live on the East Coast. I'm from New Hampshire, and Mick because I'm Irish, and, you know, that's what the Mick is from. And also, conveniently, my name is MJ, which stands for Michael James, and Mick is also short for Michael. So that's the 411 on that. Thank you, Total. Do. I'm looking for more. One sec. Thank you, Total. Roman. Sorry, guys, I'm looking. All right, so how I found out that Roman. Oh, thank you, Zen. All right, so the question is, how did I find out that Roman was on the spectrum? I've talked about this too a little bit before, but I think it's like kind of educational and stuff. Oh my God, thank you, Megan. So yeah, so when it comes to finding out, you know, Roman was in this when it comes to finding out or realizing that Roman was on the spectrum, honestly, I didn't know until he was actually diagnosed because I like thank you, Zen. Because like I said before, I thought he was deaf. Honestly, like I thought my son was deaf. He had failed 2 hearing exams. I didn't know. Thank you, Total. I didn't know that you know, he had autism until he had a sedated ABR, which like tests your hearing when you're under anesthesia. And they told me like this is probably a behavioral thing. And so that's when we found out his diagnosis. And actually, when he was first diagnosed, I didn't believe it. Kind of, I was mad and scared. But I didn't believe it. I insulted the test. I was like, this is a ridiculous test because I remember specifically they handed him a baby doll and he like threw it across the room and that was supposedly like a big sign. And I'm like, listen, you know, I'm pretty sure if you had given me a doll at that age, I would have chucked it across the room too. So I don't know if that's really fair. But I really was in denial because I was scared. I was scared that like autism to me didn't have direct answers. Like in my head, I was naive back then. I wanted a cure or a solution. That's what I wanted, a solution. And I felt like if he was deaf, there would be more of a solution. He could get hearing aids, there would be more direct solutions, but autism is more, or people act like it's a gray area. So I felt very scared. Fortunately, since then I've, learned a lot more and gained a lot of resources that are not just Autism Speaks. So, luckily we are away from there. All right, you guys, I'm looking, let's see. Whoops. Oh, you can click on the questions and answer them. That's cool. Oh my God, a hat. Thank you, Mel. That's so cool. Boop-a-doo. I'm just looking for, by the way, if I take too long looking, I will, surpass the hour, so you don't have to feel like I'm, cheaping people out of time. All right. Okay. I always pull my shirt down so you can see my tattoo so I look tougher. Okay. So this question is, how did my parents react to my transition? Nonchalantly. I honestly figured it would be a huge thing, and it was not. My father, I'm sure I still have the text, was like, I'll always support you. I love you no matter what. My mom was the same. They did have reservations about top surgery, but that is more so because it's a surgery, and they were nervous, health-wise, if I would be okay. So they were more concerned about, me actually, going under the knife and stuff and, getting surgery done. But I think that's just part of being a parent. I don't think they were being, unsupportive. My dad sometimes would have issues with me being on hormones, because it's something that he does not have a lot of experience with, knowledge of, and it was, uncharted territory. But as far as I was raised Irish Catholic, and as far as, parents go, I think my parents were pretty supportive and understanding, especially given that they haven't been exposed to, a lot of trans people, or that, well, they know a lot of LGBT people, but not a lot of trans people specifically. I remember, with my dad, a key point to me was that even though he wasn't big on me having top surgery because he was scared, he was unsure of it, he thought, what if you regret it in the future? When I woke up, he was right by my bedside. So, to me, that illustrates how my family is. It doesn't matter, even if you disagree, at the end of the day, you're still there for each other. And I remember one time, I've told this story before, but it's so wholesome. I remember that, at this point I had facial hair. I wasn't shaving my face. And so, someone at my dad's old apartment, went up to him and said, "Hey, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but is your kid transitioning?" And my dad was like, "Listen, my kid is transgendering, and I don't know much about it, but they're happy, and I'm happy for them." And I just thought that was so wholesome. And he also switched out all the pictures of me and my son and him, as a girl, and he switched them all to pictures of me now. I didn't ask him to do that. He did that on his own, and it just meant the world to me. So yeah, my parents are very cool. Thank you, Ashley. Do I have siblings? No, I do not have siblings. When I was growing up, I did have siblings because my dad remarried. However, they were much older than me. I'm talking, I was one of them was 20 years older. So I did not see them a lot. Oh my God, thank you, Haley. That was a little origami thing. That's cool. Oh, I love this question. What are some things that Eli and I do together? Well, when the weather is nice, we do a lot of stuff. We travel a lot to Vermont. We love Vermont. We actually have done a lot of traveling, which is funny because I'm not a traveler. I get very nervous. I don't like being far from home. But we have been to New York. We've been to, Vermont, like I said. We've been to, I think, Connecticut. I think maybe New Jersey. We've been all over New England. And, we do a lot of cool things. We love, things in the fall in Vermont because it's leaf peeping season. We'll go there, and they have a lot of apple picking. They have stuff like that. We love going to this place. It's called Queechee. I think it's in Vermont. Yeah, it's in Vermont, and it's beautiful. It's I think a gorge, and it's just a bunch of rocks. And I don't like hiking. I hate hiking, but that I will compromise with him on, and I will go there with him. So it's like a very small hike, and there's a beautiful, like, I guess it's called a gorge. I don't know. It's water with a bunch of rocks at the bottom. But we love doing stuff like that. And when it comes to at home, we honestly just hang out. We watch a lot of reality TV because I get him hooked on it. And yeah, that's pretty much. Oh, and farming and building, we love to build stuff. He builds, like, we built our deck, we rebuilt that. We built all the chicken coops, the pens, everything. Like, we put all the pens together. We built the coop from scratch. So yeah, we love doing stuff like that. I love that I have a partner that, like, oh my god, I've never seen that. Thank you, Haley. I've never seen that. That's so cool. I love that I have a partner that, like, will do stuff like that with me, that, like, will get dirty, go outside, like, I just love that. I love that I found someone who will do that stuff with me. Hi, yes, so this question is Roman still a part of Special Olympics? Yes, he is. But there's still restrictions because of the pandemic going around. Like, they've had some, like, side events they've invited us to, but it was more so like solo events you did, like, on the side of it and then reported back, which I really want him to get that social interaction. On a good note, I had posted about him being on in Special Olympics, and somebody from his division actually reached out to us. So now, like, when they do have in-person stuff, like, he'll know somebody. But once the good weather comes, even if Special Olympics is not, having a lot of in-person stuff, we are going to have to find other ways to kind of integrate him into different social situations, because while, I've been very careful with the pandemic, we're all vaccinated, we're masked all the time. I do think this pandemic has wreaked havoc on people socially, and definitely on my son. He is really wanting to go out and, like, hang out with kids. You can tell, like, he says hi to everybody when we go out. Like, he's definitely wants that social interaction. So no matter what, I am going to make sure he is in some type of, social, setting. We can still do drama club. I got all the referrals to the drama clubs in the area. But so we'll see. We'll see if that works. I don't know how that'll go. Oh my god, I forgot to tell you guys. Eli found a gymnastics place too that is for autistic kids. Well, it's not just for, there's neurotypical kids in there too. But it's like they have, like, experience. You know what I mean? Oh my god, my kid would love that. We might get into that. Oh my god, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. He found that the other day. I can't believe I forgot to tell you guys. All right, I'm looking for more questions. Oh yes, he watched Toy Story, and he actually didn't stay. Oh, wait a minute. He did get up at 4. Now that I think of it, didn't he? Yes, I think he did. Hi, Dakota. So when it comes to is TikTok my full-time job? No. TikTok does not pay a lot. I would say that it's my, like, main job is, and I spend most time on here. But a lot of people are under the impression that TikTok is a very high paying, like, endeavor, and that once you hit, like, 10K and get into the creator fund, you're gonna get, like, tons of money. And that's just not how it works. That is not how TikTok works. You might have a good day and get a lot of live gifts and get a lot, get, like, maybe a decent amount of money, but it is not stable. They can take your account at any time. They can take your money at any time. It is not reliable. So yeah, I actually had my own business for about 8 years as an HVAC consultant, and I do have that on the side. Like, I could go back anytime I want. I would consider that my career, but because if this doesn't work out, I'll just go right back to that. But right now, I just cannot focus on it with all the appointments and all the homeschooling. But also, I would consider my husband and I farmers, because, that is how we're monetized a lot, is through our farming content. And, so we make enough to cover the farm and then a little bit more, but it's not a lot like you'd think. I'm looking for more. Doo-doo. Oh, yes, Roman's been to the beach. He loves the beach. Absolutely loves it. Okay, so this question is, how does Roman react to, other kids his age? Actually, very well. I was very nervous with Roman going into school. Even if you take out me being trans, I was nervous about, him being bullied for being different, and stuff. And actually, everybody has been fantastic. The kids, the parents, everybody has been great. He makes friends very fast. My son has been to, I think, three or four, but I think three preschools, just because that's how the district has been going. Like sometimes they shift us to different, schools, and he's made friends like almost effortlessly at every single one. It's amazing. He is just, and I shouldn't say it's amazing. It's not amazing because he's an awesome kid. I shouldn't say it's amazing. Actually, yeah, it is, because even like I feel like even people with real contagious personalities, like it's still hard to make like meaningful friendships and stuff, and he does it. I remember when he was probably about like maybe three. He was at a preschool that there was this little girl, and she always cried when her father left, like, and dropped her off. And my son, he has a lot of empathy, and I remember he would always go up to her and like, try to like console her and make sure she was okay. And he couldn't speak at all at the time. And I mean, they were very young, so she really couldn't either. But they became like really good friends. Oh my god, I remember that she kissed him in the ball pit at I think 3 years old. That was his first kiss in the freaking ball pit. Oh my god. So then also when he moved on to public school, he made friends really well. And one time I actually went to like this event at school. It was like maybe not really a PTA event. It was more like, I don't know what you would call it, but anyways, a bunch of parents came and we kind of like hung out with the kids and stuff. And we were all playing like this game, sitting around in a circle. And I remember my son, one of his stims, you know what I mean, is screaming, not screaming, but yelling really loud. You can hear it in my videos. And he did that. And I was like a little nervous of how people were going to react. And another kid was like, oh, that's just Roman. And that like made my heart melt, that they were just like, oh, that's just Roman. Like, it's no big deal. And I also remember the only time I've ever seen my son be like, left out by another student was in remote learning. They had to like find groups like over the computer. They were like assigning groups, and the teacher assigned Roman to another kid in his class, and this kid was new. He was not a part of Roman's class, so he didn't know Roman or anything. And he was pretty vocal about not wanting to be partnered with my son. And I remember the next day, another kid who was like really popular in the class, like he made sure that he was like, he picked Roman as his partner, and he was very vocal about like, I'll work with Roman. And it just makes me so happy that he has like people like that in his life. Oh my god, thank you. But just, oh my god, thank you, Alex. Thank you so much. All right, let me look at more. I'm looking for more of it. Sorry, I'm just looking up more questions. Okay, I get asked this question a lot, and I guess I should talk about it. It is, what is ABA? ABA is Applied Behavior Analysis, and it's... I have a lot to say about it. I have other videos on it as well. It's a type of therapy. My son was actually in intensive ABA. Hold on. Okay. My son was actually in intensive ABA for years, a long time. From the moment he was diagnosed till probably about maybe 5 or 6 is when intensive ABA stopped, and then he did have like regular ABA in school after that. Our experience with it was not good. We've been to like different facilities. We've had different BCBAs. I didn't actually know a lot about ABA until I started joining, autistic support groups, and I would learn from, people that were actually autistic, that it was, oh my god, thank you, Alex, that it was, really traumatizing and stuff. And now that I have kind of a more, first I should discuss this. So, the reason that, the last straw for me with ABA, I mean, I have tons of issues with it. The food reinforcement, there's a huge lack of consent. It is very similar to dog training. I mean, just watch videos of it, very similar to dog training. But the last straw for me was my son was going to, like, a clinic right down the street. It's an ABA clinic while I worked. And I went to pick him up one day. And one of the ABA therapists, who she was a very nice girl. I don't think all people in this field are like evil and horrible. But she was, a very nice girl, and you could tell she knew she wasn't supposed to tell me this. But she like kind of whispered to me, "Hey, he wouldn't open his eyes the whole time he was here. He closed his eyes the entire time, and he closed his eyes the entire time he was there." That's how like traumatizing it was for him. So immediately I took him out. I never brought him back. And it's just now learning more about it, like my problems with ABA, a big part of it is the lack of consent. Like a lot of these therapies, if you or I were in them, we could consent to them and say like, yeah, that's fine. Like, and it's a different experience when you consent to something. When a child is forced into these therapies, they don't have the option to consent. They're not in a position to consent. And that's the reason why exposure therapy is so like, not cool in these situations, because like me, I've done exposure therapy, but I'm consenting to it. I'm saying, yeah, I want to do this. Putting a child who cannot consent to it in exposure, oh my God, it's bad. Let me get you a new question, because I'll go on about this too much. Okay. Thank you, Velveeta. You guys, I'm going to have to screenshot these after, so I can, remember all of them. All right, how I met my husband. I met my husband on a dating site. And I knew right away. I was like, I want this dude. And so we started talking, and he was kind of early on in his transition. I had been transitioning for maybe like 2 years, a year, 2 years, I don't know. I had recently had top surgery at the time, I think. I don't remember. Anyways, so at first actually we kind of like didn't hit it off super well, because our personalities clashed a little bit. But then I kept going back to him. I couldn't stay away. And I tried to ghost on him a lot. And I couldn't. I always went back to him. And I remember I told him, I was like, I know that you're going to think I'm ridiculous for saying this, because we've never met before, but I know you're my soulmate, and I'm going to tell you the same thing when we're married. And I was right. I was absolutely right. So yeah. That's how we met. It was just on a dating site. Honestly, it's so funny, because I used to not really think that dating sites worked, because I felt like fate kind of had to just happen for love to happen. That was like my opinion, but I definitely found my soulmate. All right, the pros and cons of New Hampshire. Okay, so in my opinion, the pros are the seasons. The seasons are absolutely beautiful. I love that there's diversity in terms of like where you live. Like there are some areas that are very progressive and some aren't. I love that we're moving in the right direction, I feel. However, it can be rough. I have had my car vandalized. I have had down the street there was like a poster that was put up that says "Love Wins," and I thought that was so cool, because I've never seen anything like that where I live before. Within a day, like I remember that morning, it was torn down. Someone tore it down. There are a lot of very hateful people here still. There's a lot of loving people. I have a great community. It does bother me a little bit that I had to earn my place here. I don't know if I like that. People respect me here. People are kind to me here. They're protective. They're nice to my son. I'm proud to be where I'm from, but I don't like that I had to earn my place, because I don't think it's fair that like if somebody else moved here and they were LGBT, I don't think people should have to earn that. I think people should just be accepting up front. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on it. My favorite thing to cook is tacos, and I'm making tacos tonight, maybe on live. I haven't decided yet, but maybe. All right, you guys, I'm looking for another one. Eli does not have TikTok. He did, but he gave me his account because he never was on it. Okay, this is a good question. Does Roman wear a mask? Yes, and amazingly, he's fantastic with it. I was like, there is no way he's going to want to keep a mask on his face, because there's just no way. Like, he has some pretty hefty sensory issues, and I was like, there's no way he's going to keep that mask on. It literally, me and Eli, we started at the beginning of this before everybody was wearing masks. Like this was when people were just suggesting maybe you should wear masks. We started working with him on it, and we thought we were gonna have to like have this lengthy like kind of like training on how to get him to wear a mask, and no. Literally the day we put it on him, he loved it. I don't know if he thinks he's a ninja. I mean, he is the Ginger Ninja. I don't know. But he does not mind it at all. He's great. I hand him a mask. He masks up. He keeps it on. The only thing is sometimes he does like chew on him a little bit. But I mean, I think he does fantastic. I absolutely think he does great with them. It was such a relief. My son is high risk because of his dysphagia. He's prone to pneumonia, so it was imperative for him to be protected. Well, it is still during all this. So the fact that he will put on a mask and keep it on is like amazing and fantastic and wonderful. Let's see. I'm looking for more. Okay, this is a question I get asked very frequently, and I just want to put a disclaimer. This is 18 plus. This is 18 plus, so well, I don't know if it'd be considered 18 plus. In my opinion, it should have a label. The question is will I have bottom surgery? No, I will not. And the reason is, well, part of the reason is because I have HSV2, and that is genital herpes, and I do not want to risk the infection, which it would have higher infection rates. People do reach out to me and they're like, hey, it's possible, you don't have to worry, you can go on antivirals, but that is still a huge risk in my opinion. There are still, complications. I personally think fallow results look really good. I personally think the results are good. I know people make degrading comments. I don't like that. I don't like that at all because I don't think people should look at trans men who are just trying to live as their authentic selves, and really they're pioneering for those of us who in the future might want it. You know what I mean? I think it's really dirty when people talk badly about stuff like that. But there are, kind of higher complication rates, and I don't want to risk, having HSV2 and having a higher infection rate. Not only that, when I had top surgery, I have a heart arrhythmia, and when I had top surgery, my heart reacted with the anesthesia, and I had to get nitro injected because my heart wouldn't go down. And seeing as how fallow sometimes has multiple surgeries, like I've seen people go through multiple surgeries, I don't think that's a good idea with my heart condition. So no, I will probably never have bottom surgery, but to be honest, I'm okay with that. I struggled with bottom dysphoria heavily for a while. But I have some really great friends who have helped me through it, a great team of therapists, and, I'm going to keep on trucking and, keep my, punani, you know what I mean? Okay. I'm looking for more, hold on. Karate, that's a good idea for Roman. He would love karate. Oops, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. All right, so this question is it overwhelming the impact you have on others? First of all, thank you. That makes me want to cry. But sometimes it's not overwhelming. It's wild. For so long, I used to kind of have a big following on Instagram, but it was only because I was sharing my transition. I did help others through their transition. Like we had an anonymous help thing, like a help forum that we ran, me and one of my friends who was also a trans guy. We're not friends anymore, that's why I say was. But it was only focused on my transition. Now that I've literally invited you guys into my home and showed you everything about me, authentically, my interests, the things I love, our day-to-day life, and to know that has had such a huge impact just being myself, that is so cool. It's so cool because when you transition, sometimes you think that that's all you can focus on, and sometimes, or not all you can focus on, but it's just, I think sometimes it can absorb us a little bit, and also there's a lack of vulnerability because you don't want to be vulnerable, especially people like me that have to go off T, that don't pass all the time. You don't want to appear vulnerable, but I was vulnerable to everybody. And I've gained a huge following for it, and that's so cool that I was able to do it just being unapologetically me. It's not overwhelming, but it's crazy to think about. Thank you. Thank you, Haley. I'm looking for another one. I'm going. I wish they did them in order because it makes me go. It like is all you know, integrated. Has Roman pickpocketed you or Eli lately? Not lately, but I'm sure he will. Okay, so this comment was, what's Roman's condition? And you don't have to say no hate because I don't think you're being hateful. So I will talk about everything in this video. I usually actually don't talk about, like, everything because I don't want, like, I don't ever want to be turned into one of those pages that's, like, only talking about, like, medical stuff and stuff like I don't want to be a page like that. Because I feel like no matter what my son has to deal with, he's such a badass kid, and like I'd rather like share like badass moments and like how awesome he is. But at the same time, sometimes it's cool to, you know, share your experience, and you know, I know it helps others and it resonates with others. So my son is autistic. But he also has dysphagia, which I talk about a lot. I just recently started. I actually had like never really talked about that a lot until like maybe, I don't know what, like 5-6 months ago. And so what happens is he has hypotonia, which means right here he has low jaw muscles. He also has he also has low muscles in his core. And so that sometimes affects coordination, and so it affects his swallowing. And so he kind of lacks stimulation when he's swallowing and stuff. Like it's also related to you know, sensory issues. And so when he is drinking liquids and stuff, like he can choke easily, which is why they have to be thickened. And unfortunately, if he does drink anything that's unthickened or not thickened enough, he can aspirate and develop pneumonia, which he has. My son also has sleep apnea. Which I don't talk about a lot, honestly, because I want to like avoid the judgment on it, because I'm not you know, making my kid wear a mask. He was not advised to, but some people are like absolutely insane. You know how some parents are. So my son has sleep apnea. Unfortunately, there's not really a treatment option that they could suggest right now at his age and at his level of like you know, just his maybe I should say like his sensory aversions and stuff like that. You know, they usually don't put masks on little kids at night. They usually don't keep them on. They didn't think that medication would be a good you know, route for him, so he's not on medication for it. So really I just monitor him profusely. And so yeah, those are what my son kind of deals with medically. He had his adenoids, but not his tonsils. Thank you, Molly. I'm looking for another one. 1 second. I should be screenshotting these. I'm looking, guys. If I don't answer it, I'm trying to, like, you know, screenshot it so that I can, answer it in the future in a video. And I will tag you in it. I love these Q&A lives because I get so much content. It's fantastic. And I get to, like, talk to all of you. It's great. I love it. It's like killing two birds with one stone. That's a terrible, what is... Okay. So this one, okay, I got a question. Does Roman ever break down crying? I have a funny story about this, and it's, I don't mean to laugh, but it was so funny. Okay, so you know that song by Four Non Blondes, that's like, oh my god. Oh my god, it's the What's Going On song or whatever. How does it go? Oh yeah, the song that's like, hey, hey, what's going on? That one. Okay, so one day we were listening to it on the radio, and all of a sudden I hear my son crying in the background, and I'm like, "What's the matter?" I was like, "Is something wrong?" And he goes, "No," and I'm like, "Then why are you crying?" And he goes, "I just love this song." Oh my god! Thank you, Love Grows. Do do do. I am so sorry, let me tell you, but I cannot suggest a LGBTQ group because I go to none of them. Do 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 do. I'm looking. Hey, you guys, if you want to know how I feel about Ukraine, you can just go to my profile because I think it explains it all in my bio. I don't want to make everything. I'm showing my support in any way I can, but like, my page is really for people to kind of like relax and stuff, and sometimes people need a break from that stuff, and that might sound selfish, but I'm literally trying to help them from every avenue, and this is just one that I want to keep, free of that. What do you love? Oh, did I answer this? Do I love cooking? I love cooking tacos. All right, hold on. Thank you, Maddie. All right, I'm looking at the comments now. Thank you, Patience. Hi, Janelle. Why does it not say it on here, like, when I get something? Sorry, guys, I'm trying to navigate this. Oh, does Roman attend public school? No, Roman is homeschooled. Oof. Okay, how did I know that I was trans? I didn't as a kid. I did not know what the hell was wrong with me. I just thought I was extremely fucked up. I did not know what the hell, I didn't know. But when I first met my first trans person at a support group when I was like probably 16 or 17. My mom took me here. She found a support group for me because I think she didn't really like know how to help me with a lot of things. And so she brought me there and I met a trans woman. And that was the first time that I really realized like people can really transition. Like this happens and it doesn't just happen on national TV. It doesn't just happen on talk shows that we hear about it. Like it can happen near me. Like this could be a reality for me. And so I started presenting, masculine. I started, I think everybody probably figured I was a masculine lesbian. I just let people think that. Why not? I started speaking to people close to me about how I was kind of like, or some people, you know what I mean? That like I was using kind of he, him pronouns. Like I remember specifically because AIM was very popular, AIM, AOL Instant Messenger when I was, that age. And I remember like changing my username to have like, it was like King or Prince or Boy or something. And I think it was King. And that was like my statement, like as in like, okay, I'm presenting as a dude now, like eat it, like you know what I mean. And so that's kind of how I came to terms with it. I really honestly I went back in the closet, for a plethora of reasons, but mainly religious reasons. And I really tried very hard to present as a woman. I tried every way possible to do it in a way that would make me feel comfortable. I tried to work it out with my son's father because I believed that, and I truly believed, and this is wild. This is wild that I thought this. I thought that I convinced myself that no woman on this earth actually liked, being with cis men. I know that sounds awful. Being with cis men, they just convince themselves of it because that's what they're supposed to do. That's what I convinced myself of. I convinced myself that every married woman out there, every woman that's married to a cis man, They are literally just pretending to like it because that's what they're told to do. I convinced myself of that. That was easier to believe, like a delusion like that, as opposed to just being like, okay, maybe something's going on here. Um, but then it got to a point, like I said, where it was just like I had to transition. It was getting in the way of everything, like the dysphoria. It was getting in the way of everything. It was getting in the way of dating. It was getting in the way of parenting, really, because when you're that severely depressed and unhinged, you can't really be a productive parent. And once every other area started to unravel because of that one thing, I was like, screw it, it's time, and I transitioned. I downloaded that neighborhood app. I keep getting like notifications from it. Oh my god, what is Roman watching out there? He's like jamming out. Eli's with him. Okay, so people ask about my tattoos constantly, and this comment asked, "What tattoos did you do yourself?" Pretty much all of them. That's why they look horrible. But yeah. So basically, what happened? By the way, I did this king tattoo when I don't recommend tattooing yourself. I don't recommend tattooing yourself. But I did this king tattoo when I was still a girl or presenting as a girl. I did that. And I did it because, I was presenting as a masculine lesbian, and I had found myself in a couple situations that were less than ideal, and I wanted to find a way that if I wasn't going to pass that, people were just going to leave me the fuck alone. Because even as a masculine lesbian, like sometimes you pass as male, and it's more convenient at times too. Sometimes in my experience, maybe I'm wrong, but that was just my experience. At least I was left alone more. And so I literally went out, got a tattoo gun, and I just covered myself in tattoos. Like I said, I don't recommend it. Am I gonna stop? Absolutely not, because it worked. When people see me in public, they typically think that I spent a lot of time in prison. I don't always pass as male, but they do help me pass. And when I don't pass, they usually think that I'm like a woman who probably spent a lot of time in jail. And the funny thing is my tattoos are not prison quality. These are scratcher tattoos. Prison quality tattoos are gorgeous, but the general public doesn't know that. And so they usually just presume that I've served a lot of time. They leave me alone. I don't get hassled. Honestly, I can say I don't regret it at all, and I will continue to do it. And I love my tattoos. I think even if they're not perfect, even if they're kind of like real shitty, they match me. Like, they totally go with me. I don't know, they just work for me, so I definitely don't regret it. Yes, Eli and I do actually cook together a lot, mostly because he never likes to be without me, so I go out and I cook with him. I do not like to draw or sketch, but Eli does a lot. I found out about TikTok because I used it to add music to a video I did for Instagram once, and then it ended up blowing up, and I never even realized it. My favorite band is Don Bracco, and my favorite song is T-Shirt, or the T-Shirt song. Do, 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 do. I hope this is really recording. I hit record, but I don't think it is. Oops. All right, so this question is how did I feel being pregnant and watching my body change being trans? So, if we're being honest, when I got pregnant, I was not in a good place. I was extremely messed up. I had no business getting pregnant, to be honest. I'm glad I did, but I had no business. I had a and trigger warning, I'm going to be talking about eating disorders. I'm going to give you 5 seconds to leave. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So, I had a raging eating disorder. I was not healthy at all. My pregnancy was very rough because, like, I remember, I could never, like, see my weight and stuff. I had to be weighed backwards. It was like, it was, it was not a good time. It was very hard. I would say that for me was harder than my gender identity issues. I did struggle a little bit with my gender identity issues. My son's father actually was pretty understanding about them. He didn't know to the extent at all. Like, he didn't know that, like, I wanted, like, that I was probably going to transition and all that. Like, he didn't know that. But he did know that I struggled at times with things of that nature. And he was very supportive. Not towards the end, before he passed away, but during that time he was. And so, to be honest, I was so messed up, I wasn't really focused on dysphoria and stuff. I mean, I'm sure that my eating disorder had something to do with, my gender identity issues, because I did feel like I had no control. I never felt right, and I just felt like, you know, with the eating disorder, it felt like, at least when I was losing weight and meeting a calorie quota and things like that, like, at least, like, I was doing something right in my head, which obviously that's not a healthy thing to think, but in my head I was doing something right, and that gave me solace. But then when I was carrying a child in me, that was, oh, that was, I almost said horrific. It's not horrific, like, I love my kid, but, like, that was a very hard time to be riddled with a disorder, and to know, to battle, like, this, raging, just need for control, but at the same time, like, you have a life inside of you that, you need to do right by. And I didn't always do right by the way. That's not true. If I were to sit here and say, like, oh, it completely went away and I was fantastic and had a completely healthy pregnancy, it's not true. Because that's not how life works. And so yeah, that was probably the worst part of my pregnancy, as opposed to dysphoria. Hi, Ashley. I'm looking, you guys. Oops. I'm looking, I'm looking. Hi, Ellie. Hi, Ken, how are ya? They're not giving me all the comments because I'm seeing ones that aren't in the question thing. I got the king tattoo just because, I don't know. I feel like me getting a king tattoo should have been, like, probably a sign that, maybe, maybe I was gonna end up transitioning. I don't know why I didn't, that shows how oblivious you can be to, I mean, myself, to, your own issues. Like, when you come out and, like, everybody's like, yeah, we figured, like, because that's kind of how everybody reacted to me. They were like, yeah, it's no surprise. And I'm like, what, like, how are you not shocked? But maybe, yeah, tattooing king on my neck in giant letters as a girl should have been um a warning to myself that, like, or, like, hey, you're gonna turn into a dude. And I know, wow, I just realized that now. That's so funny. I mean, I was a masculine lesbian when I got it, but still. Hi. So this question is, do I have a plan in place, in case anything happens to me for Roman? That's actually something we're working on. We are working on getting at least a notarized letter that if anything happens to me, like, he will be in Eli's care. But also we need to set, like, there's a lot more things to set up. Like, it can be a pretty hefty process. But yes, that is actually a fear I have severely. I have a huge fear of me dying, and not so much like what will he be left with. What, like, my fears are things like, what if when people put his socks on, they don't make sure that the lining isn't under his foot? What if, like, people don't know that, like, when he comes up to your head and tries to headbutt you, like, he's saying he loves you? What if people don't know, like, stuff like that scares me, that, like, all these little things that I do for him every day, and, like, that I understand, because, I deal with a lot of, like, quirks like that too, like, of, and my dad does too. My dad, he always would make sure, like, things were a certain way for me, and I do that for Roman, and I worry, like, what if I was to go and people wouldn't know all those things, because he has such a special connection with me that, like, I don't know. That's more what I worry about. I know his basic needs will always be met, because he's surrounded by people who love him. I know that he will never go without things like financially and stuff. But I worry more about the little things, like the little things that I make sure that he's comfortable with, because I know how it feels. And what if one day he doesn't get that from someone, like they don't get it, like some people don't get it, and so that's what I worry about. Thank you, Sundrop. Hi, Liliana. Thank you, Ellie. Thank you, Boone. Thank you, Old. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you, Hello. All right, you guys, I think I'm going to end it. I got to make dinner soon, but on East Coast Mick, the regular one, East Coast Mick, I might be going live soon. I'm not sure yet. I might make dinner on live. If I don't, I'll definitely at least do a video. But keep your eyes out just in case, and thank you so much, Tina, for the last minute rose. I love them. Thank you so much, and thank you to my mods for keeping everything in check, and just thank you guys for being here during this live.